So thank you for having and sparing this time with us today. I was going to say tonight because it's tonight in Spain, but yeah, for all of those in America or in Australia, good day to all of you. And yeah, with us we have Marta. Marta Tencia is our customer success manager at Frogget. And I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Frogget. Frogget is a customer success and support platform that gives you visibility of what happens within your platform with your users, so information about usage. And together with that, we help you optimizing your users' life cycle, your customers' life cycle, and making them so happy. And we are here today to share with you some learnings and some insights regarding how to retain your customers and improve your churn rate, but also to tell you a bit of stories about Black Friday campaigns for SaaS and how those campaigns have sometimes led these customers, these businesses, to lose millions on their way. So just before we jump in, I would like to give you some tips. I'm sure you're all very familiarized with Zoom, but on your right-hand side, you have the Q&A button for questions, but we'll cover these after the presentation. And on your left-hand side, you have your audio settings where you can select your speaker, but take into account that everyone is going to be silent and mute during the webinar. Okay. This is a little bit the agenda that we're going to cover on the webinar today. So we're going to talk about what you shouldn't do on Black Friday. And then we're going to share some good Black Friday campaigns performed by some SaaS. Then Marta will jump and share with you best practices for customer retention. And then we will finish with conclusions and Q&A session. For us, there is a quote that we love, which is good things, if short, they are twice good. So we're going to try to be quick and to be stick on time. And we have planned half an hour to 40 minutes. And so we will try to do our best to be on time. And before we jump in, I would like to do a short recap about the Black Friday. I'm sure most of you know, but it's true that for all of us who are from Spain or from Europe or some other countries out there, just talking about Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, remember that this is one of the most awaited shopping days of the year. And it's the starting point of the American holiday season, winter season. And it's true that its origins, there are like stories about the origins of Black Friday. One of them tell us that is related to that financial crisis of 1869. But there is another good story that tells us that a lot of retailers made lots of money and good profits on this time of the year when selling. And so black, the color, was related to the black ink they use for gains versus the red ink they were using for losses. So Black Friday is very much related to the big gains and the big profits that many retailers do in this time of the year. It is true that despite of Black Friday being one of the busiest shopping days of the year, it may be terrible for some of the business, especially if we are a SaaS and especially if you're a B2B, sorry. Why, if we are a B2B SaaS, it may be difficult? It's true that normally strategies for Black Friday, they are very much focused in B2C consumers. And normally it's impulse buy versus the B2B process, which is a longer process where it takes longer time. There are more decision makers in the process and it leads to long-term relationships. I will go deeper into that. Before, I want to show you this. And this is a very important message that we are sending in this webinar. In the world of Black Friday SaaS deals, companies which don't take into account and don't work with the strategy in place, don't compete on price. What they do is to extend the value of their solutions well beyond the sale. And this is very important, not only competing in price, but extending the value of these solutions beyond the sale. Let's go next. So which is the problem, the real problem with Black Friday deals for SaaS? The real problem here is that we may convert them in a decision based on price. What this means, instead of buying a subscription after a careful consideration, these buyers may buy just purely on price. And this also may lead to getting the wrong customers in. And this is a threat for companies. This is a threat for companies because attracting wrong customers may also damage their image, their own image. Look at this. What happened with these poor fake customers? How can they hurt our profitability? In several ways. How? Because they will increase customer service costs at some point, because of decreased customer satisfaction, NPS scores, but also because it may increase our revenue or customer churn. So in order to avoid, after all what I've said, many companies think why they should go into Black Friday campaigns. Is it good for us? Should we or shouldn't we? And I would ask to our audience, if you want to drop or raise your hands, if any of you have seen themselves in the situation of wondering if they should or shouldn't go for Black Friday campaigns. Have you ever thought that maybe it's not the right strategy for you? So if you want to leave a comment there, we'll be happy to see your participation here. The good news is that with the right strategy, SaaS companies, yes, they can participate in the Black Friday campaign without sacrificing profitability. Look at this. There is a study, a research made by Paddle that said that those companies, they were analyzing SaaS companies' performance on Black Friday during years, for some years, okay? And what came out from that research is that those companies that offer discounts sold significantly more than those who didn't. And then the second point, which I saw as very interesting, is that the revenue of those companies grew 6 times more with discount than without a discount, raising also the stakes on customer retention. So with this, the answer to our question would be that yes, it makes sense to go on a Black Friday promotion, but how? How should we proceed with these strategies for Black Friday? So I would highlight 4 points that we have considered as Froget, but that we also recommend you to take into account. One is deciding deeply how much you're gonna discount. The second is treating existing customers with care. Do not forget that 90% of your revenue is on your existing customers. So treat them with care. And then use what you know to create target offers, and then create non-monetary concessions. And I give you a few ideas for this. You can give exclusive or early access. You can create custom contracts. And you can create enhanced onboardings, trainings, or coaching. Look at this. These are some Black Friday campaigns to look at. So these are 2 SaaS that they perform very well, and look what they did. We have Gather Content, who ran a promotion just a bit before Black Friday. And what they did is to offer 50% discount over the 3 first months of any new subscription made during the Black Friday promotion. It was very well calculated because it was just for those 3 months, and then they worked very much on customer retention for those new clients. Then we have lead pages. And lead pages, what they did is they left untouched their pricing, but they created an additional, they added some soft products to that product and created the illusion of a great deal. In fact, they sold it as the biggest ever deal they have ever shown, and it protected the profitability. So before we move forward, I'm passing you this checklist to see if your Black Friday strategy is trend-proof. First of all, have you already thought on how to retain those new clients? Second one, how are these new customers, going to affect the image of your brand? And this is very important here. I just make a tick here. The third one is that, will these new customers be profitable in the long term? And I'm gonna pass the word to Marta, but before that, I just want to highlight the importance of retention, user retention. Look at this. These are a few numbers, and I'm just highlighting these numbers and passing the word to Marta because she has a lot of things, very interesting things to share with you guys. So coming back to user retention, look at this. Increasing customer retention rates just by a little 5% can increase profits from 25 to 95%. Just 5% of increase in customer retention rates. Look at that. But there is one killer fact, and is that the success rate of selling to an existing customer is from 60 to 7%. And if you compare this to a new customers, where the success rate of selling to new customers is 5 to 20%, look at that. I have no more questions. So my word is now to Marta. So, Marta, all yours.
Hello, everyone. So first, before I dive into the customer retention best practices, I would like to read you this quote that I want you to have this in mind throughout the whole presentation. So keep customers happy and successful, because that makes the company successful too. So as you know, and as customer-centric companies, customers are the core of us. So before I move forward, here's a reminder of the Q&A where you can ask questions. So go ahead, shoot them at us, and we'll cover them once the presentation is over. Okay, so for customer retention best practices. So first, I'll talk about segmentation, about segmenting your customer base, that behavioral profiling that is so important. Then I'll move on to the importance of educating your customers and having educational resources at hand. And lastly, I'll talk about reaching out to customers, keeping them engaged. So for segmenting your customer base, first, you need to ask yourself 2 questions. And where did they come from? Where are those customers coming from? Are they coming organically from your Black Friday campaign? Did they go through the entire outbound process? It's really important to know to later on engage with them according to that. So also, you need to ask yourself, what does success mean to those customers? So each customer will have a different definition of success. Different features will bring them different value within your product. So here you can see an example of a segment of customers that you can do for a Black Friday campaign. So you contact them and engage with them correctly and properly. So this is done with Frogget. And take away this from here. You need to segment your customer base. You need to send the right message to the right customer. So moving on to educating your users. So customer education is a really, really important value driver across the entire customer lifecycle. So you need to educate your customers, because well-trained, educated customers know how to use your platform, know how to benefit, it benefits them. They know which features bring them the most value. So the more the value, the happier they are. And I mean, happy customers don't leave your product, right? So that will increase your retention rate and you will avoid churn. The best way to educate your customers will be through content. And the best content you can allow them to, you can offer them will be your knowledge base. So it's important you have a well-structured, easy to access, and just at hand knowledge base. Just allow them to check those help articles at any time. So I mentioned that you need to reach out to users. In this case, we're talking about users who are struggling, they're not performing well. So the key here is to be proactive. Don't wait until it's too late and they have churn. Once they have churn, it's all over. So to detect those warning signals that give you that insight that they might leave soon, you have to think about what is their usage frequency and the features that you're using. So in terms of frequency, you need to know how often do they log in. You need to know your daily active users, your monthly active users. And then about features, you need to know which features they're using, because as I said before, different customers will find different value in your features. So you need to make sure that the features that are the most important for them are being used. So once you know when you have to contact them, engage with them, how do you approach those customers? So I believe that the best approach is blending mid or high touch and tech touch. So as you can see here, customers, most customers will leave your company because they feel like you don't care about them. This is why it's so important to blend this strategy. So here is my last quote for now, and I'll say blending high touch and tech touch strategies is the perfect recipe for happy, long-lasting customers, and that's all that we want, right?
So just before we move on to the questions, we would love to leave some key takeaways. Okay, 4 points, 4 main points. I know there are many others, but 4 main points that we would love you to drive home with you so you can get them home. One of them, the first one, is that if you have the doubt, yes, go for a Black Friday campaign. The second one is that going for a Black Friday campaign, but strategically plan and prepare it. The third one is, as Marta very well explained, you have to work on retaining those customers. And remember the best practices on retaining them, which is theirs, which is first segmenting them, then educating them, then reaching them out, and as a result, you will get success. Not only you, but they will also be successful. Your success is their success. And I would like to finish with that killing point that I was saying before, that is that working on increasing customer retention by just a little 5% can increase profits by 25 to 95%. So again, how important it seems to you, the customer retention? So I think we can now move to questions, so the Q&A session. I'm sure that you may have a lot of questions on a lot of things that come to my mind. So we are here to answer them and to share with you some insights and some experience that we may have had.
Okay, so first question, Laura maybe. How have you planned on the Frogget Black Friday campaign? So I think Emily can start with that.
Okay, I can go for that one, Marta. So in our case, what we did is we planned it ahead. So a few weeks before, we started creating some content, new content for the blog regarding the Black Friday. So a bit of warming up, as we said, is like it is really important to create the momentum and to create the atmosphere, because as we were saying at the very beginning, this kind of customers are normally not impulse buyers, as they may be using your tool for a long time, you know, and they have like a recurring problem or a recurring pain that they need to solve. So it's very important, I think, to create that momentum, to create that warming up. So somehow we have been creating that. So launching a post, and then so we are ready to send to the market the Black Friday campaign that we are preparing. But something which is really important and that we have been covering during the seminar is exactly the retention part, the retention strategy that we are practicing, and that, of course, we are doing it with our own platform. But Marta, maybe you want to jump in and tell them what we have created specifically for retaining these new customers.
So, of course, as I was saying, there are three key strategies, right? So first, segmenting. We have already created a few segments of our most important customers that are coming from the Black Friday campaign. So we know how to approach them later on. So first, when it comes to, later when it comes to education, we have made sure that all our articles are updated. They have the resources available. As many of you may know, or maybe you don't, that we have a knowledge base integrated within our chat. So we have made sure everything is there, so no one is missing any information. So we avoid that churn. And then when it comes to reaching out, well, in this case, they're not struggling yet because we're working on that, but we're still creating a different onboarding process for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to ask you exactly that, Marta, if because I understand that many of them may be asking if we have created any specific way of getting them in, I mean, on onboarding. And so, yeah, you just said it. So, yeah, the answer is yes.
It's the little details that make a difference. Just having a message specific for you, a welcome message, it means a lot to customers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that gathering, as you said, segmenting right in the right way the customers and addressing them, knowing the background they have, is really important, because they will feel as, I mean, unique. All of us, we need to feel that we are unique and that we are treated as individuals and not as, you know, as groups. And that's really important. I think that makes a lot of sense. So, yeah. Yeah, it's true that we try always to implement this within Frogget, and we inspire clients, our own clients, to also do that with their clients as well. So yeah. So next.
So we have another question by John. Thank you, John, for this question. So he said, is it a good idea to make the Black Friday a bit longer? Maybe a couple of days after, for Cyber Monday, for example.
Okay. So Cyber Monday is normally very much for software and hardware, I would say. So yes, it can work. Normally what is recommended, and out of all the information we have been gathering and all the research we've done, I would suggest to start a bit earlier and maybe to extend it a bit more. So 2 days after is not a bad idea at all. So it may be part of a good strategy. So, but again, after, even though you extend a bit those days of the deal, but it's really important. Wow, light, I think has come out.
Yes, we were talking about this before the session, saying, exactly. What if they turn off our lights? So
it has happened. It's what happens when you are in the space. Exactly.
So I wanted to
I can like this. it really looks, look at this, because
I don't know how
like
to
this,
move
at least
the
you can see my face.
negative.
Like this, you can see my face.
Yes. Well,
So
going back to
this is
John's
what happens.
question.
This is what happens when you work in Europe and it's getting late and you have to go home and we are still working in the office. Okay, so again, going back to John's question, I would say that yes, it's important. I mean, you can extend for a few days that deal, but make sure that you create a good strategy of retaining those customers afterwards. So I would say there is where the key point is. Okay.
Okay, so we have another question from Matt. So he said, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, by the way. He said,
I'm just trying to get
apart
the
from
light on
Black
my face.
Friday,
So
what are the best practices for promo discounts in your opinion? So I think I'll answer that, Matt. So I believe the best practice here will be obviously focusing on retention and a good onboarding process right after they come in, but make sure for that promo that you don't extend it for too long. So just make sure that they know how long it lasts. Just take into account the example that Emily showed before about gather content. They said 3 months. So it was just only those 3 months that you had that promo. So make sure they know when it's ending.
and I
So
would
you
add,
make that FOMO happening.
yeah, and I would add also, Marta, about what we were saying about these soft deals, or we can add something which is soft. It's not real. You're not changing very much the basis of your product, but you're adding some special onboarding or special coaching or early access to something that really makes also a difference, and you can qualify it in terms of money. So you can show it as is a good deal that they are getting, but in fact it's not really costing you more. Okay, so that is also a good one. So do
So
we
I think
have
we
any
have
other,
time for another question. So,
or even two? We can go for them.
okay, so we have here, can you explain a bit more what is tech touch approach? Okay, so I'll of course answer that. So tech touch will be the opposite of mid or high touch, that are calls, face-to-face meetings. Well, nowadays, so virtual meetings, but still. So tech touch will be automated messages and emails. So for example, having a welcome email will be a tech touch approach. And also just making sure that you have an email, for example, a customer that hasn't logged in 14 days. You know, there's a warning signal, but maybe it's not that big of a deal unless it's 3 weeks. So you say, okay, so 2 weeks I have a tech touch approach, so I'll send them an automated email so I don't have to waste time on it. It's really efficient. And then if that doesn't work, you can have a high touch or mid touch approach just by having a face-to-face meeting, for example, the week after.
Yeah, I think as we were saying, that combination of high touch and tech touch is really important, and it's something that we highlight very much, that we practice and that we suggest you to practice as well, because it's really important at the time of driving your customers and your users to the next level. So
yeah, because your users do want to feel special, do want to know that you care. So that those face-to-face meetings really help. But for me as a customer success manager, a lot of our customers don't always have the time for a face-to-face meeting. So it's easier to chat with them, to create a conversation through an automated email. These open-ended questions is like, how is it going? I know you haven't been here for a while. How do you feel? Has it been difficult for you using this new feature or something like that? That way, it's a really good approach.
yeah, exactly. And I think we have one more question, Marta.
Yes, exactly. We do have one more. And I think this is Mike's question. So it says, what would be the main strategy to retain those new customers coming from Black Friday deals?
I think that's very
So
much connected to what we just said, but go ahead.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, then again, segmenting your customers is the ground base to start the happy customer and customer success manager relationship, the connection to your product. That's the best way. Segmenting your customer, sending them only relevant information and making them feel special. You can do that with automated messages and emails. It doesn't need to be always super personal, and it's super efficient. It's not going to take you as much time, and you make sure they're happy, they feel loved, and they just want your
So guys, before they jump, they drop us out from here, from the office, we're just gonna leave you this present. We didn't want it to leave without giving you a little present for Black Friday after the webinar. So it's a free session, 3-hour session with a consultant from Frogget, so that you can work on retention and what exactly you're going to be able to work about. You're going to know or learn how to boost your retention process. You're going to learn how to automate your onboarding, to drive value after the trial period, and look at that, the best hacks to engage users. You have the QR here, but don't worry if you don't have a phone near you, because this presentation and the recording is going to be sent soon to all of you. So don't worry if you can't scan at this moment, because you will have the opportunity. And well, giving thanks to all of you and wishing the very best for the season in front, for super good deals in Black Friday, and of course to make the best of all the new customers coming for after this Black Friday, and keeping them for the rest of life. So yeah, thank you very much for being here and for participating, and hoping to see you soon in the next one. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. See you.